Linda Marie Colon, your host for Making It Artisan Stories. And I'm here today with Maggie Kozera Vitelli. Yes. Former educator, seamstress since you were wee small.
Right.
And Wallingford resident.
Correct.
And I'm here with these adorable teddy bears that are all part of your handiwork.
Correct.
With a special story for each and every one. So let's start off with your story.
Okay. Well, I started when I was young, sewing. I think I was 3 or 4, and my mom sewed, and I brought along with me the can of buttons that I used to play with.
Yes.
I thought that was a good start.
I know my mom has one. I think every mom or grandmother has the little tin of buttons.
Right. These happen to be all white. She had them sorted in terms of things. I also, in looking back, found I had made the 3 bears out of some old fabric that my mom must have given me. And, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear.
So these are your original projects. 3 bears.
Yeah. I'd been making stuffed animals for my children. I sewed for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
that one looks well loved.
It is. It's falling apart. I figured I would not fix it. I loved to sew. I went to school for sewing, home economics. It's now called Family Consumer Science.
Yes, it is.
It's sort of a funny thing because I learned to sew and cook for my mom, but I did have to go to school in order to learn to teach it. So I taught for 32 years, middle school.
So you're a local educator here.
Yes.
In town.
Yes. I taught at DAG for 14 years.
DAG Hammersholt for 14 years.
Yes. And then retired 5 years ago to take care of my grandsons, a new one that was being born and a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did, and my mom. And then when my son-in-law had a job transfer, my daughter and my grandsons went to North Carolina. So now, and my mom had passed, I needed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't sure what. I had a misfortune where I had lost my son 6 years ago. This whole sewing adventure has been a therapy for me. To, one, it keeps me busy.
Mm-hmm.
2, I love meeting the people that I interact with who would like to have a pillow or a bear made or any kind of animal.
Beyond your crafting for yourself through sewing stuffed animals, etc., for your children, as they grew, and then as your son passed away, as a way to memorialize him,
Correct.
You created a teddy bear. So that was the launch of
Muumuu's Memory Bears.
Muumuu's Memory Bears. How did you create this bear?
Okay. The bear that I created first was this bear up here. It was my dad's clothing, and I thought that might be a good way to start.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really sure where I was going with it, and I wasn't sure if there was a market for this. I made that one first, and then a dear friend of mine does craft fairs. So she said, why don't you come and try? So I went in September, had a few things made, had the shirt made.
I like the shirt.
That was my dad's shirt.
So this is dad's shirt.
A pillow. Right.
Sewn into a pillow.
I had a few items that I could sell, mostly some of the little bears, a few smaller ones like this. It was like a trial and error. I wasn't sure where I was going. I had made a pamphlet. I had business cards. I knew something had to work, but I was unsure. Continued. I went to the fair. I sold a lot of the little ones, but didn't get any orders to create anything. A lot of interest, but never got any orders.
Okay.
I didn't become discouraged. I just kept saying, all right. I put it up on social media. I posted some of the items, and that's where it just started to flow.
And I've seen your Facebook page. Muumuu's Memory Bears has a great following, and all of the examples of the client base that you've built.
Yes.
And do you have some repeat customers of those?
I do.
Like to memorialize some loved ones?
I do.
And they send you?
They come to me. At Christmas time, I had multiple bears to make for a couple of people, 10 of the smaller bears made of onesies.
So they don't necessarily have to represent the loss of a loved one. You can have family members, pets, etc.,
Right.
that are alive and well. They
Yep.
just take their favorite blankie they might have grown out of, a onesie, and you use that material and you upcycle it,
Correct.
which is great. So you have a
Right.
sustainable green business,
Yes.
which we love. You create any kind of stuffed animal. So it's
Yeah.
a bear, it could be a bunny, and love the elephant behind you.
I just made an elephant for a woman who gave me her mom's robe,
Okay.
and her brother was having a baby, so she wanted it embroidered. And so I embroidered her initials on it.
Oh, that's amazing. So it's a great
Yes.
shower gift,
Yes.
which is a beautiful keepsake for the baby.
Correct. This happens to be one of the items that I was contacted about, and it was through Facebook. This mom was going to become a grandma, and she had a sweatshirt of her husband that had passed. Her daughter did not want it when her dad had died when she was 15, but she held on to it. She asked me to create a bear because she was now going to be having a baby.
Oh, so Grandpa's still present.
Yep, and she
Isn't that
just
amazing?
recently sent me a picture
That's
of
so
the
sweet,
baby next to the bear to see what he looks like. I just delivered one to North Carolina. I flew with it, and it was her daughter's uniform. And
Oh, that's a military
uniform, and she wanted
Wow.
it specifically done. So I took it on the airplane with me, created it. I went down there. I picked up the fabric. We discussed what we wanted. That's what I came up with. And then she just sent me a picture of her grandson, who the bear was
showing the
for.
bear. Oh, that's adorable.
So I'm finding that people are now sending me pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Many people are contacting me to do bears for a friend, or I've done them for donations. Huntington's disease, various places around town, Meriden Humane Society. I did a dog for them for
amazing.
fundraisers.
For fundraising?
Right. The police station, I brought a dozen little bears for when they have little ones that are in a crisis, or they go
Okay.
to, or the firemen, and
Also a comfort
bear.
Oh, that's amazing. Is that your original sewing machine?
That
I
is
just
my
want to call attention to
yes.
that adorable little singer.
That's my original one where you crank the handle that I did sew.
And you really did create something with
I did.
the manual
Yes.
sewing machine. So that takes me back.
Yes. So I happened to come across it and I thought, well, that's part of my story.
It
That's
is.
where it began.
That's where it all began.
Yeah. It brings back a lot of memories.
I bet it does.
And I think, how could I ever have made anything on it? But they were very simple. Doll clothes or things like that.
The moniker Moo Moo's Memory Bears. Where does Moo Moo come from?
Moo Moo comes from my grandsons.
Mm-hmm.
When my first grandson was born, my daughter wanted to know what I wanted to be called. And I was not going to be a Grammy because there was only one Grammy, and that was my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a Grammy. She's like, well, can we call you Moo Moo? My children, Rob and Danielle, used to call me that when they were in high school. I have no idea. My dad had names for all of us, but that's what they called me. So that stuck. Wherever I go, it's Moo Moo.
And her memory bears.
And her memory bears.
Behind you, I see a pillow, Harold and Lucy.
Yes.
And we talked about the pillows from Dad's shirts. I'm thinking of my own dad who passed in August. There's still loads of flannel shirts still hanging in his closet that my mom hasn't touched.
That's what Fern is made from.
And I think one like Fern for all the grandchildren and one for myself would be great. But the pillow, tell me a little bit about that pillow looks extra special too.
Someone contacted me through someone else on Facebook asking if I could make a pillow out of their pet's blanket. I was like, sure. She's like, can you embroider their names on it? I have an embroidery machine. I said, definitely. So we got together, and this blanket happened to be one that a friend gave her. So it was her blanket, and then the dogs adopted it. So then it became
sounds familiar. The dogs took over the blanket.
Took over. She wanted just the plain pillow with their names on it. They had passed within weeks of each other. So Harold and Lucy are their names. It was just the best.
So those are two doggies at the Rainbow Bridge that she's memorialized with the blanket now with the pillow.
Yes, is now awesome. A pillow. And she now has a new dog, and he happened to start laying on the pillow. So there's kind of a connection that's going on.
Adorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So every piece that you create.
Mm-hmm.
It gets one of these.
Right?
And
Yes.
I noticed every piece has a heart.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
I just felt that why I do these, everything is from the heart. And that was what happened to my son in terms of a clot going through his heart. I put a heart inside also from the fabric of what the bear is made from.
I see.
The heart is a symbol. I also have my name tag, which has a heart on it and made with love by Mumu on it, on each bear or each item that I make.
Poem.
This poem, it changes from time to time. It changes how I make it, what I put it on.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends upon what I'm making and what I feel. Each bear has its own direction.
Mm-hmm. Is that what leads you to create the different sizes, the different characteristics? Because I see everyone looks different.
Yes.
In their own way, and they
Yes.
tell their own story, obviously from the fabric they're made from and who they
Yes.
represent. But I think you get the material in your hands.
Once I get it, then I go with it. I used to make the costumes for the plays at DAG, and I would be the one who would try to find the craziest, pick a rug, and use that in terms of for a bird, for their wings.
Mm-hmm.
So once I get it, I like to feel it, and then it talks to you.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, once the fabric gets in your hands,
I know
literally.
exactly, what to do with it. So that's a different bear that I made for her. She just said, I want a pocket, I want the buttons down the front, and she wanted black paws and black feet.
Awesome.
And that was about the extent of it. And
this is Dad's flannel.
This is Dad's flannel, and it's going to her mom.
Tell me a little bit about the foundation that this supports, because you do have a philanthropic agenda in creating these. The funds support something very special.
A percentage of the monies that I make go towards Stop the Clot or National Blood Clot Alliance. They are they do education to make people aware of blood clots, deep vein thrombosis, how can you get them, how to prevent them, just to make everyone aware, because they seem to be more and more nowadays. We have a foundation called For a Probable Cause. That's the name of the foundation that we have in terms of my son. In memory of him, at the end of the year, I figure what I, made and send a check to them. And they also have my flyers and cards. So we're trying to promote some other business. Not everyone makes it through. I was lucky with my daughter.
Yes.
And
you had another
yes.
occasion where your daughter experienced.
Correct. And she remembered what we had. And that was very helpful. She was in college at that time.
What a beautiful tribute, and a very generous one.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what's the time frame? So if someone were to place an order, it sounds like you actually have backlog.
I do, which is good.
Absolutely. That's a great problem to have.
Yep.
And so the typical time frame, if someone were to order one, you would say at least give you a generous lead time?
Correct.
Especially if it's going to be for an occasion.
Right. 2 weeks, depending.
2 weeks is a good lead time.
It takes me about 4 or 5 hours from start to finish.
Okay.
If I'm diligently working on them. I mean, I do so every day. I've tried to make it, like a job.
Absolutely.
I do take, my breaks. I do have other things that I go to.
Right.
So I may not sew, a good 6-7 hours a day, but I'll sew into the nighttime also. Sure. It's very relaxing.
Anywhere in the U.S. you ship?
Anywhere.
Nationwide?
I did have someone contact me from Scotland. It didn't really go through, but she thought she was talking with someone on Facebook from Wallingford, England. It was great. We had great conversation, and I think she might have found someone else. I did do one for someone who had a preemie. I think she's 2 or 3 now. She wanted a bear made out of her clothes that were little, preemie clothes.
Of course.
And the size, her length and weight. So that was an experience to do. I was like, oh, sure, I can take care of that for you.
Almost true to life.
It was.
And that really did lock in that stage, probably.
It did. It took me a while to get the right size and the weight. It was a challenge, but it was great when it,
that's definitely a skills challenge.
I'm going to be introducing a fox, some other animal shapes, sizes, but most people go for the bears.
Yeah, because they're huggable and they're Definitely a comfort and probably welcome on airplanes.
Yeah, they are. I
So
didn't have any
comfort
trouble.
pet.
Yes, exactly.
You had a couple things on the table you wanted to show me.
Certainly.
What did you bring for us today?
I brought one of the new bears just to kind of give an idea of how this works, from a pattern.
Okay.
This is an upcycle fleece vest that I had that I didn't want anymore.
I love the upcycle, that
and
philosophy.
that's what it is.
This is a green product.
Yep. I use embroidery thread. I do a very simple running stitch, very easy. I decided to put some of the real eyes instead of felt or thread eyes on my bear. Kind of a crazy little nose. Once again, the heart. So it's very simple. Anyone can do this. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can also sew your bear together or your item together with a small running stitch going around.
So this is a hand-sewn upcycled fleece jacket turned teddy bear.
Correct. This pattern I happened to get online. It's called a charity bear. She wants people to use it, to share it, give it, to people, hospitals. That was her purpose. Anyone can
from
sew.
there, will you hand sew both sides, or will that go through the machine?
I will go all the way around through the entire item, and then I will put the front to the back and sew. And actually, that bear down there, that's striped. Yes, I made that out of a jersey fun blazer that I had that I just didn't want anymore.
Love it.
And there he is.
Tell me about this guy.
That's Robbie Bear, after my son. I had never made anything to represent him until I went to the visiting nurses to do a demonstration with a best friend of mine. Those are his fleece pajamas. He got some extra padding on his hands, the shirt that when he was little.
The detail is tremendous.
Thank you. And the
Really?
tie is a tie that he wore. So I just
oh my goodness,
put it
this
down.
is really special.
So he sits in the rocking chair
And a
in my
pocket.
home. Yes.
Oh, he's in a rocking chair.
Yep.
He
Yes.
gets lots of attention from guests.
He travels from fair to fair and has his own special chair to sit in with the
course.
story that gets explained.
Well, thank you for your time and for coming by the studio.
Thank you very
We really
much.
enjoyed seeing everything, and you telling a story with your passion and your talents is amazing.
Thank you.
And giving back and your sustainable philosophy is also commendable. So thank you, Maggie Kozera Vitelli.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I'm Linda Marie Colon, host of Making It Artisan Stories. Thanks for watching.
Wherever I go, it's Mumu.
And her memory bears.
And her memory bears. And my email is magazinekv@gmail.com.